Welcome to Social Work Sunday Tea. It is Shakia Houston. It's a great day to be alive and well. It is, what is March? No, is it March? Yeah, March 13th,
Yeah.
2022.
Time
Great
change
day.
too.
Right, exactly. It's a great day to be alive and well. Listen, make sure that you like, subscribe, make sure you follow, make sure you share. We're gonna have a great discussion. It's Social Work Month. We're celebrating social workers all around,
Mhm.
all around the world. Brooklyn, New York, Connecticut, Chicago, you name it. We're celebrating social workers. And we thank you guys for um doing what you do and loving on the people and all that good stuff. Um, we have a special guest, and they're social workers. It's an old social work month. So, well, topic. If you'd like to introduce yourself, it doesn't matter who goes, when, but it's a great day. So go ahead. I don't know who's gonna go first.
Hi everyone, my name is Tamika.
Okay.
And I'm Jessica.
Okay. All right. Now, Tamika, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what's going on, like as far as with your education, all that good stuff. Let us know.
So I was raised in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Okay.
and I obtained my bachelor's degree from North Carolina A&T. It's HBCU in Greensboro. Then I moved to New York to get my master's degree at Columbia University, and I've just been in New York ever since then. It's been about 5 years now. Currently, I am a adjunct professor at NYU, and I also provide emotional support to people who've been affected by COVID. So it's been an interesting journey. And throughout my career, I had like a wide range of jobs working in schools, hospitals, nonprofits. So very immersed in the social work field.
Okay, cool. Jessica. All right.
So, my name is Jessica. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut. I got my bachelor's degree from the University of Bridgeport. I majored in criminal justice and social sciences, and then obtained my master's degree from Fordham University. I graduated in 2018. And in the state of Connecticut, I got my LMSW in 2019, and I'm just currently working on my LC.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So what made you guys get into social work?
You can
I
go.
wanted to be a I wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
Um, I wanted to be a lawyer for people who couldn't afford one. Because I saw how the criminal justice system like did to my father.
Okay.
But fast forward, took a law 101 class and was like, all right, this isn't for me because I want to defend people, but how can I morally defend someone who's committing a crime on camera?
Yeah.
So how can I help without, being real punitive? And so
Yeah.
I was talking to people one day and they were like, it sounds like you want to do social work. I said, all right,
Mm.
hold on. So I'm in like my last year. I'm thinking this entire time I'm gonna go get my master's degree in criminal justice. And I sit down, look at my supervisor, my advisor at the time, and said, you know what, I'm going to school for social work.
Okay.
Looked at the two schools. I applied to Springfield College as well as Fordham, and then got accepted and just went with Fordham.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Similar story for me. I wanted to do law until I was discouraged early on about how long law school would take. And I was like, absolutely not. I knew that I wanted to talk to people like through therapy. So I went into undergrad without a major and I was going to do psychology. And so my professor told me not to do that and to do social work because you can do therapy, you can be a therapist, and it'll be quicker because she was telling me to think futuristically, and what she meant by that was in the event that you do get a master's degree in psych, you may not get a job because the degrees in psychology don't really, you can't really move around because you're not a psychologist because you're not licensed. She said with a social work master's, even if you can't get a therapist job, you can always get some type of job to keep you comfortable financially. So I was like, okay. That's a good way to put it. So I went with social work, and she was also explaining at the time, uh, I won't have to be in school at the same lane because a master's degree in psychology, you still need to go get your PsyD or PhD. With social work, you don't need to do that. So after having that conversation, I changed my major to social work. And then when I went to grad school, I studied just strictly the clinical track because that's what I wanted to do. And it's been working for me ever since.
Cool, cool, cool. So, like, for people to get a clear understanding, what is a social worker? What is your definition of what is a social worker?
For me, social work is a profession that does all jacks of trades. So there's no one answer. And I think there's this stigma that we're all case managers or we all work in nonprofits. And I've never done any work related to case management. So I think people need to really understand that social workers can work as consultants, they can work as educators, they can work
Mhm.
in a hospital setting or
Mhm.
any like a law firm. It doesn't have to just be DSS. So for me, I would just say social work is the jack of all trades profession.
Okay, Jessica.
Very similar to what I was gonna say. Social work is so broad. I usually get hit with the, oh, so you take people's kids. No, that's not what I do. Okay.
Right.
Um, I think I don't want to even say we're miracle workers, right? Because we also have that stigma of being a social worker. Not only do we take people's kids away, but we're expected to solve everyone's problems. I think it's a beautiful field. I would just say, like, social work to me is just literally in its name. Like, you have to be social before you do the work.
Mhm.
Because if you're not being social, you're never going to get any work done. So it's really just being a human being with
Yeah,
ethics involved, treating people like you would want to be treated.
right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And can we get rid of the stigma that if you are a social worker, you're only making $20,000 or 30K because that's not true. And I
Yeah.
think
Mm-hmm.
that is what pushes people away from doing or majoring in social work because they're like, well, I don't want to be broke. And I feel like if you have a broke mindset, then you will be broke. But if you don't, then there's money in this industry, there's money to be
Mm-hmm.
made, and there's lanes that you can create. Like you don't have to stay in one
Yeah.
direction in this field.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely I love those points. What are some of the challenges that you guys face? I know I'm going to talk about working in long-term care, your nursing homes, things like that, social services, social work, whatever you want to call it. It's difficult because they think we are the
Yeah.
miracle workers. But in a sense, because they know that we're going to do it, the
Mhm.
mindset, they know we're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, well, let me get the social worker. All right, okay, this what's going on, XYZ, fix it. And it's more so like Bob the Builder type of attitude because we do get things done, period. Like, and they
Mm-hmm.
know who to go to, they know who care. Oh no, I'm not gonna go to the nurse. Oh, I'm not gonna go to, let me go to the social service.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
everybody refer everybody to the social worker, social services, and they're just like, well, what if I'm doing? Then I'm doing your job too. So what are some of the challenges? I just, sometimes I just get overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. Like, get it, no, But so what are some of the challenges that you face on a day to day basis, being in that arena? Um, yeah, being in the arena that you're in.
For me, it's the system.
Mm,
I work full time with children in foster care and
okay.
then part time with people who have suffered from domestic violence and sexual assault. So, for more so the children in
Mm,
foster care and just seeing how many Black and Brown children we have in our system versus, Caucasian, and not even just that. People say that, our system's broken, but I tell everyone all the time, like, our system is created to do what it's meant to do, and it's to oppress Black and Brown people, minorities. And it's up to us to really get in and change the system, because we can have all of these policies, whether it's in education, right? Like in Bridgeport, Connecticut, some of the schools aren't as great as its neighboring towns. And so you look and you see the despair that's going on, and you have it in the medical field when it comes to our health, in the education field, in the
Mhm.
social services field. So it's really, for me, it's definitely the systems that we're working with and trying to encourage the people around me. Like, we are the ones who elect people into office. We have the
Mhm.
power to change certain things, but sometimes people just lose hope. So I
Yeah,
think that's another challenge too, the system and then losing hope.
yeah, yeah. That's good. What
For
was
me, it's a two-part answer. Some of the challenges I face are from people who do not understand our work. So one of my internships, I was working in a hospital, and there was some disrespect from nurses or
Listen.
surgeons, and the disrespect became in, I would say, like they felt like because their degree was more
Mhm.
prestigious that they can talk down to social workers, or our work wasn't as valued. But the social workers were on the unit with the patients. We were getting information to help you with the discharge. Yeah, you were looking
Mhm.
over and supporting them, but we also support them in a different way,
Yeah.
which is also important. um, Another challenge I face is constantly educating people what I do and what the profession means, and explaining like what is social work. And that's a challenge because sometimes people don't really listen. It goes in one ear throughout the other,
Mhm.
or you're constantly just, when you say you're a social worker, it's always just going to be this negative stigma attached to it, and that's a challenge. So one of the things I'm trying to do is open people's eyes to see there's more to it than just what you hear on the media and the TV. In regards to work, I think the most challenging thing I've had was one of my jobs. I worked with individuals diagnosed with autism,
Mhm.
and they were often going into crisis, and that was a challenge because having to understand their behaviors, their
Mhm.
patterns, and the parents would often leave out information. So if you get a call and they say, my child is randomly screaming, they're in crisis, you would, without any context, you're thinking, okay, but why would they be screaming?
Right.
So the challenge in that was having to work with the parents and ask them, well, based off the diagnosis, okay, what happened earlier in the child's day? And
Mhm.
they'll say, well, we got into an argument and I told them they were stupid. So if you know that your child has a delay,
Yeah.
it's 4 hours later, they're now reacting to what you said at 1 o'clock. So they're not randomly screaming just because they want to scream. They're screaming because they're now processing what you said, and
Right.
what you said hurt their feelings. Now they're reacting. But to you, it's like, well, it's 4 o'clock. Why are you just now reacting? So that was a challenge, but it was a good challenge because I was educating parents, providing psychosocial information on their child's diagnosis and to the school as well, so that way teachers can understand their patterns and behaviors.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's just like dealing with the psychiatric population. I don't know if you guys have you guys dealt with psych or
Mhm.
um oh man, that's a whole different arena and a different ball game. And I did that like now I can do it with my eyes closed, but
Mhm.
when I first started, I was like, "Oh, hell no." My mom was like, "You sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." But like some of the stories, like when you interact and you do the psychosocial programming, the groups, and anger and conflict, and if they identified offender, you do a crimes and consequences class, like you talk about different things. And that population, it can be tough because dealing with people with schizophrenia, they're sometimes impulsive, so you really don't know if they're going to have a behavior and they're not going to have a behavior. And
Right.
so you gotta like defend yourself. They do have a behavior because 9 times out of 10 is it can get rough. And they call a social worker, hey, come on in. I was like,
Mhm.
that first time, I was like, no, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I'm just gonna, cut it out, social services come. I was like, no, I'm not gonna come.
Mm-mm.
Like, no, no, no. And they're like having a crisis or a psychotic break.
Mhm.
They come and get us. Or if someone OD, they come get us, So it's just so many things that goes along with that field. And so what my question to you, um, how can we educate people about the profession? They just think, oh, just you push paper. It's more, do you feel like it's more mental than physical?
I think we have to educate people by doing initiatives like this podcast, inviting people to listen to the conversation and hear from various people like what they do. In
Yeah.
addition to that, I think we just also just have to still do the work and let our results speak for itself and just educate people one on one and with hopes that they'll share the message with their friends and family members.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jessica.
Definitely. It's really getting the word out because there's so many misconceptions, like I said earlier, like with taking people's kids away or even just people saying that we don't make any money in the field. One time, like it was last week or the week before, I had to tell a client because she was getting discouraged. She wanted to be a social worker, but said she wanted to be an APRN because they make more money. And I was like, listen, honey, we make money too, Don't let what people are saying to you in school because social work is so broad. You can have a craft and take it so far, right? Like for someone who does lashes or even nails, like believe it or not, when they're sitting there, people are talking to them all day about their issues. So even just getting a little license in something or a little cert, providing, care to other people in like service, like the social work field to me is all about service, right?
Yeah.
And saving one starfish at a time. So really just educating people and letting them know we wear so many hats. We're your mother, we're your therapist, we're your cousin,
Yep.
we're just here to really like help change the world and make it a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely a servitude like that, like serving, like,
Yeah.
we give time, energy, space, our mental capacity. I'm like, listen, I don't want to talk to you, like we get in
Right.
those roles because,
Mhm.
have you guys experienced burnout?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
How many times throughout the year?
I'm not sure how many times,
Okay.
but I have a high tolerance because I like
Oh.
to work.
Okay.
But I also know when I'm in a toxic environment because of my supervisors or colleagues.
Yeah.
I think the first time I actually experienced it was in my previous job, and the signs were a couple different things. Um, I noticed that in the morning or the night before, like on a Sunday, I would get like butterflies in my stomach.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
would be like anxious
Mhm.
about the next day. Or if a client would want to talk to me, like I wouldn't want to have a conversation. If I was scared at first, but I took a sick day, and ever since my first sick day, I just
Mhm.
started doing it. But I was scared because I went from undergrad to grad school like straight, so all I know is school. So I don't like to miss like classes or anything. So I was thinking of it in that way.
Okay.
But I was like, I'm getting
Mhm.
paid for sick time. I need to use this sick time.
Yeah.
So I called out of work and it was good. So now I know my breaking points and I
Yeah.
just call out.
Yeah.
I
Jessica.
think the first time I had a burnout was like in 2019. I ended up catching a pneumonia in the summertime because
Mhm.
like I had overworked my body. So from there, I was like, all right, no, like you need to schedule the time, you need to take care of yourself. So once I started feeling like irritable or just feeling drained in the morning of like I can feel happy and as I'm driving to work, once I start feeling irritated, it's like, all right, let's take a step back, let's groove. And all I need is really like a few days off, and then when I'm able to come back, it's like, all right, let's get to it. So I definitely had that mindset too, Tamika, where I just didn't want to take any time off, but I worked for it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I need to take it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I don't take off either. But now, back then, now I take off. I be like, "What? No, no.
Right.
Any chance I get, like, hold on, let me go ahead and take this. Yeah, I'm taking this day.
Mhm.
Oh, I
And
don't
I was
feel.
also worried about getting behind on work.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
The second you leave, it's like, well, you took a day off, but it's like you took a week off. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. They don't the between your clients, the paperwork, meetings. So
Documentation, putting them notes in.
Mhm.
yeah,
One of my
that, like,
jobs, we started billing for our clients. So if you didn't get a certain amount for the week, it was like you didn't meet your quota. Like,
mhm,
well, it was
yeah,
stressful.
Mhm.
yeah, definitely. So Tamika, I know how you said your tolerance level is high. Do you think all social workers or people work with the public? Well, social workers. Do you feel like your tolerance level is higher? Jessica, I don't think you answered that. Is your tolerance level high?
I would say I'm right in the middle.
Okay.
Because sometimes I care more than my clients. And so then I
Mhm.
just have to kind of take a step back and I really meet them where they're at, right? Like I have my expectations for them, but
Yeah.
it's like, what are their expectations for themselves?
Yeah.
And how can I also incorporate a little of mine with theirs, more so theirs? And I think by that, I've been able to kind of balance everything out. But you get some of those cases that just pull on your heartstrings and you feel like you have to do a little extra.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my tolerance is a little bit high, partially because of where I'm located,
Okay.
because this is a fast paced city, one, and two, the workload, just in comparison to North Carolina, the caseload is more intense. So
Okay.
I think because I'm so accustomed to New York and just like social work here, I've adapted a different mentality, which why I think I was able to like not burn out so quickly. But I think it's a mixture. It was a combination of different things, but mostly the disrespect from leadership added on. It was like, okay, I can't do
Okay.
this.
Yeah. That and okay, so I'm in long-term care. People in higher management, they don't know the dynamic or the culture of the building. They don't know the clients. They don't know they
Mhm.
don't know the environment. So like when they do any sudden change, it's like you throw the whole thing off. It's
Right.
like, what are you doing? Well, I want it this way. Okay, you're not thinking about it's not patient driven. It's not a focus. So what are we doing? So I caught a lot of hell when it came to that, and also advocating for the
Mhm.
resident. Like, hey, no, don't do that. You're messing up the environment.
Mhm.
You're messing stuff up.
Mhm.
Leave well enough alone. Go on about your way. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
they can be disrespectful, and they don't have that. They're disconnected. They're thinking about numbers. They're thinking about
Right.
Mhm.
pay for
Mhm.
what? And okay, well, they didn't give their money or this, that. No, but what about the connection, the building rapport? You build a rapport with these people, and then you let them down
Mhm.
because of what the people higher up what they think they should have, and
Mhm.
that's what really pisses me off. Even with the physicians about the diagnosis, like
Mhm.
I get down on them. Like I don't care for the black and the brown. Hey, listen, you're not gonna keep pumping them up
Mhm.
with psychotropic medications. That's what you're not gonna do. So it's just so many
Mhm.
dynamics to that. And I challenge them. I'm like, okay, I understand you went to school for 1,000 years. I get it. But I'm with this person 12 hours out the day, 10 hours out the day. I'm looking at them all the time. So you're not gonna, this is not what that is. And they were like, well, I think, I was like, okay, I know you get your cut back from the pharmaceutical companies. All right, I get it. But at the same time, you can't do that. You can't dump them up like that. They're humans. They're not experiments. So yeah, I challenged the system. I was like, hey, no, I challenge the doctors. No, you can't, you don't dump them up. Now they're zombies. Now they're sleeping all day. Now they're not social. They're not interacting.
Right.
So I really get pissed off, and I get pissed off, and I get mad. Like, hey, I'm advocating. No, do not do that. And sometimes I'm like, hey, if you want to take what the doctor gave you, then go right ahead. But at the same time, this is a new medication. You don't know how it's gonna make you feel, and you're pretty fine on your baseline anyway. So
And
yeah,
from my experience, doctors are surprised that social workers know medication. So sometimes they'll be
It's
like,
part of our job too to know
right, but they
medication.
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
They're like, how do you know what Haldol does?
Exactly. Ativan. I was like,
Yeah.
listen, you're not gonna. No, you need to scale that back. Hey,
Mhm.
and they're so like, oh, okay, then. Like we know our people. You know what I'm saying? Like we know our people. Don't give them that. Give them this, or maybe I don't know, but it needs to something gonna have to give, and just advocating for our patients, our clients, things like that. I'm just that person. I speak up. I'm like, whoa, 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 loud. Like no. But yeah, it's
I've been called passionate
yes.
before.
Okay.
And I would get very triggered by it because
Mhm.
it's like, oh, you're so passionate. And I felt like it was just people's way of saying like I'm aggressive, but it's like I'm very big on these are people's lives we're dealing with. Like
Yeah.
regardless of race, ethnicity,
Yeah.
these are people's lives and we have to treat them with respect the same way we would want to.
Yeah.
But I am quick to let people know if you feel like this work no longer serves you, you should look elsewhere or
Yeah.
like just move on
Yeah.
because how you feel tends to trickle down to the clients. And so I'm always challenging but always getting called passionate.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's okay. You want me to come up there? I'll let them know. Cousin's coming.
Yes, cousin.
Yeah, what we
Cousin's
doing?
coming.
He said what she said, and that's it. But no, like I get it, and be passionate about the people because it's for the people. At
Right.
the end of the day, like no, like they're not gonna do what they want to do with the people, and you be like, okay, no, then what are we here for? So
Mhm.
can you tell us like if you guys can just tell us one story, like a success story, because we all have those when you're dealing with clients and you felt good, like, oh man, I felt good. I contribute to that. Do you have one of those stories? I don't know who want to start. Just give us a little story of as far as like a patient being successful and you interacting with them as their social worker. You had a hand in the success.
Mhm.
If you guys can give us a story or two. Yeah.
Tamika, you want to go first?
Sure. So the first thing that came to mind was when I was working at a nonprofit school that supports children who have brain-based disorders. So they're nonverbal and not ambulatory. So one of my assignments was to help them with their daily task or living essentials or just day-to-day things that we can do. So one of the things that I practiced with my student was to handwrite, and during the session he was able to write his name clearly, and that was a huge milestone for him because he couldn't hold the pencil sturdy. So through various like exercises and activities, and we did the hand over hand method, but I let him lead to write it. And I
Yeah.
think that was one of the moments where I felt really good because we take so many things for granted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now we're on technology, we're texting, we're on our phones, but we
Yeah.
can also have the ability to write, and he couldn't. So the fact that he felt good about that was rewarding for me.
Yeah, definitely. Jessica.
So I work primarily with children in foster care, and I would have to say one of my clients from when I started in like 2018, I got her in like 2019, just the progress that she had made. And so like just to see like over the years, like how she went from being like so introverted to so extroverted and
Mhm.
getting all of these accomplishments, and just me always encouraging her, like just because you're in the system, it doesn't mean anything. Like you have the ability to be more than just your current circumstances, and just to encourage her, like take advantage of what like DCF can offer you, past 18. Like don't just sign yourself out. The limits are just, there's no limits. Like I mean the possibilities are just endless, right?
Yeah,
So really just seeing that, because sometimes I think that the work gets so hard, and sometimes you don't always see the fruit of your labor right away.
yeah,
So it gets very discouraging at times, meeting clients who sometimes don't want to help themselves at the current moment or just aren't ready, right? Because healing is ugly and it's painful in the beginning, and some
yeah,
people aren't ready for that, and that's okay. But just kind of giving them that support, like somebody's still here for you regardless, and just being there and being genuine and real.
yeah, yeah. Because they know when you faking.
Right.
They know when you like faking and really
Hmm.
don't care.
Hmm.
They get that sense like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back to her, or I'm gonna clean to her because I know
Hmm.
she cares. I know some of um oh, someone say yes to the comment about healing. Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's definitely true. Yeah. Um,
Does the audience have questions?
mm,
No.
I don't nope. I don't see any. Nope. No questions. But yeah, like if you guys have any questions, hey, let's ask the social
Hmm.
workers. Get online. But yeah, I think more so as far as when you see your input in people's lives, it feels good. It's kind of like a rewarding, like dang, I
Hmm.
had some type of I don't want to play all the part because the other part, the client they did the work, but we put that seed, we planted that seed in them so it can grow. Um, but yeah, definitely it's the beauty of it. I think it's the beauty of it. I know some
Hmm.
of my clients, I fuss and I be cussing. I'm like, listen, y'all better get them, and they were like, oh, Miss Houston, all right, so okay, okay, okay. And now if I'm not fussing, then they know something wrong, or okay, you having a bad
Hmm.
day, or even with my psych patients, if they don't want to take their medication, they call, so hey, social services, social worker, y'all come. All right. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm not taking that medicine because it makes me feel this way. I'm like, listen, I ain't take my medicine today either. So we're gonna have to do this together. So I get an ibuprofen and I take the ibuprofen. I'm like, come on, let's do it because I'm taking my medicine too. Like one of my patients, they said I was they was like, you bipolar too. I was like, and I laughed so hard. I was dying laughing. I was like, maybe because I was like, he was first of all, I was doing something, probably a note or whatever, and he just come in, bust in, social worker, yeah. And I'm like, listen, if you don't get out, and then he rolling his
Hmm.
wheelchair, he getting out of there, and then there's other times where where he called me bipolar. He's like, you bipolar? Because I know when I see bipolar, I know when I see bipolar. I was like, oh, okay, then. All right, cool. And yeah, so but with the medication, I had ibuprofen, and I so I took the ibuprofen as if it was psych medication. So
Mm.
we're just gonna have to do like in order for them to get on board and taking medication, like or aspirin. Like I have to like, hey, I got my medicine. You said I was psych. Here go my medicine. Let's take it together.
Hmm.
And they do it. And like Jessica said, we're not. They think of us as like social workers as miracle workers, but at the same time, we get that thing done. Like we get it done, like hands down.
Hmm.
We get it done, no problem. And that's why our clients or patients they come to us. Hey, I need this done, need that done. So, what would you say? Because I'm gonna wrap it up because I'm not gonna talk you dry like my grandma would say. So, what would you say to new social workers or people just now getting into the field of social work or things like that? What would you say to them? What would you as far as to encourage them to keep going, things like that? Tamika, you want to go first?
Sure. Um, I would say stay focused,
Mhm.
have a why, and know why you're doing what you need to do. Tune everybody else out. And the reason why I say that is because we live in a generation where everybody's trying to compare their life stories to the
Mhm.
next person based off a 5-second video on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah.
And I think that's very toxic because you don't really see the behind the scenes. If
Yeah.
you know what you want to do, you know your
Mhm.
end goal, stay determined, network, join organizations in your community or virtually now that we're in the COVID world, but tune everybody else out who is causing you a distraction, who's causing you to be insecure. Do not share your personal goals with people who you feel like they're in competition with you because once you do that, they'll start to discourage you because they see something good in you and
Mhm.
they'll try to tear you down.
Mhm.
Now you're second guessing and now you're trying to change your job, profession, or whatever. And at the end of the day, as long as you're happy, I think that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And if you do what you need to do, then the rest will follow.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Jessica, come on,
Cousin, I
cousin.
would really say, be yourself.
Mm,
Definitely be yourself because some people are just gonna come for you, like Tamika said, and they're gonna see that drive in you that they wish they had,
mhm.
and they're gonna definitely discourage you. So say what you mean what you say. It doesn't matter if the whole world or the whole room disagrees with you.
Yeah.
Stand on what you said, as long as it's within rights, within like ethics and stuff, of
Yeah.
course. Because I'm not, don't break no laws now, and then you coming to me. But
Right.
definitely stay 10 toes down on what you have to say because we're not always going to be valued. And never let these jobs, I guess, mm, how do I want to say this? Know your value because
Mhm.
these jobs will really make you feel so small,
Yeah.
and it's not you.
Yeah.
These jobs will also post your job postings, right? Your job description before your obituary. So
Listen. That's
definitely
good.
take self-care because they will post your job description before your family can post your obituary. So like Tamika said, focus, tune everybody out, and definitely be yourself.
Oh,
Definitely be yourself.
And I would like to add what you were saying is you have to have confidence because everybody's always going to comment on what you're doing. They're
yeah.
either going to say something good or
Mm-hmm.
something bad. But if you are the type of person where you're insecure and you only like what people are saying that are good, you're
Yeah.
always going to fumble or crumble when you hear the bad. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to be in a mental space where you take the good, but you can also take the bad.
Yeah.
And when you do take the good, take it in, but you don't have to sit on that. Know that
Mm,
there's still work that needs to be done. It's cool. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for acknowledging me, but you shouldn't take people's praises and use it as validation for self worth.
yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
good. That's good. Come on, cousins. Y'all just yes. Let the people know. Yes, definitely. Yeah, we gotta take care of ourselves first at
Right.
the end of the day. Like these jobs, they come and go. And they'll replace you
Mm-hmm.
without you
Hmm.
even knowing it. And you putting all your work in, all your heart in it, and they think you're doing a great job, but on the back
Right.
end, you suck. You know what I mean? In their mind, you know what I'm saying? You suck. All
Hmm.
right, next, let's get somebody
Mm-hmm.
else in here. Come on. You
Hmm.
know, and I'm just at a point in my life, I find another job. Okay, next, look. I know I'm worth it. Like I know what I'm doing. I know
Right.
who I am. I get another one. It's all right. Somebody gonna find, or I, do it on my own, things like that. Whatever it takes. But yeah, we definitely have to. Social workers around the world take care of you. Period. Period. Like
Mhm.
take care of your mental state space, and see a therapist. I got one. To get that outlet that
Mhm.
when people don't understand, like and I just want people to have a clear understanding what is a social worker, what social, and you got to put in the work and
Right.
all those things. Yeah. So and be kind to people, be loving to people, and extend grace. So
Right. The energy is always gonna come back.
Mhm.
always, it
Mhm.
always come back,
Yeah.
always, and keep planting those seeds, lady cousins.
Mm,
Yeah, keep
Mhm.
planting
definitely.
these seeds, and I really, really appreciate you saying yes.
Mhm.
Everybody, let everybody know. I met all these ladies on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, you wanna get on here? We gonna do it. Talk about
Mhm.
super work." Woo, woo. And it was like, "Yes," and they emailed me, and so we're cousins now, and
Mhm.
we're gonna stay connected and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, if you in Chicago, y'all come to Chicago."
Right.
I'm
Yes,
like, come on, I'll get you some
cousin.
chicken and some what else and some mild sauce, whatever you need. We're gonna have a
Mhm.
good time. I'll let everybody know about the prom Saturday, September 24th, 2022. It's gonna be it's gonna be amazing. I'm inviting you guys, Tamika, Jessica, y'all gonna have to get a flight to
So
Chicago.
well,
Yes, get a flight to Chicago. Come on. Bring all the other cousins in them. Come on, let's go. But I am grateful to connect with you ladies. Um oh, they say great. Oh, thank you, God, my great conversation. Thanks for clarifying your profession. Yes,
thank
yes,
you for
yes,
listening.
yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening and tuning in. Until next time, next week is the Ode to Social Workers again. I got more social workers coming on to discuss social work and their experience, all that good stuff. So, you guys tune in next week. I love you guys, and you guys have a great and productive Sunday. All right.
Have a
Bye.
good day.